the office for the last 37 election cycles in Casa Grande, so she's our expert.
So
But
the intent would be for this office just to operate through the general?
yeah, it operates until a week or two after the general. They finish up all their paperwork and stuff. But they
Here's
usually,
Martine.
okay.
Where?
I don't see him on here.
Well, here he comes.
Okay, there he is. Gene, can you hear me? You are? Hello, welcome. So,
Hey everyone, how are you doing?
So Martine, I'm going to turn it over to you right now, just so you know, the timing, I think I let Ian know, the timing is really tight, but Katie Hobbs is supposed to join us at 6:50 and she's in the middle of an event. She's going to come on and get off. And then if you haven't finished and we have questions for you, if you can stay with us, you know, we'll give it right back to you.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, no,
I just want to suggest that everybody mute themselves.
Yes,
If you
everybody mute. And I'm turning it over to someone I've known for, I don't know, about 7 years or more. He's been a good friend to me, helped me when I was a candidate as a mentor, and somebody that we really need as a statewide officer in this state and trusted treasurer for doing the right thing in Arizona. So I'll turn it over to my friend Martine Quezada.
yeah, thank you, Ralph, and thank you, Casa Grande, just for having me here. It's great to see all of you, great to talk to all of you. My name is Martine Quezada. I represent the people of West Phoenix and Glendale right now in what is Legislative District 29 as their state senator. I'm also an elected school board member. I'm a practicing attorney in Arizona state and federal courts, and I'm your nominee to be the next state treasurer. I know people don't get excited about this office. It's not one of the more thrilling offices, but in my time running for this office, I have found it to be incredibly exciting. And the more I learn about it, the more excited I get about the opportunities we have to do really good things from this office. So I want you guys to know really quickly that the Treasurer's Office does 3 main things. You're the chief banker of the state of Arizona, you're the chief investment officer, and you're the chief financial officer. Chief banker is easy. You make sure the money goes where it's supposed to go. You bank all of the taxpayer dollars that come in. Chief investment officer, you invest over a $23 billion portfolio. And that's where we can invest in our values. That's where we can protect our planet. That's where we can invest in corporations that treat their workers right. That's where we can do good things with the power of your money. And after advocating for so many years in the state legislature on multiple different issues, I know that at the end of the day, it's all about money. Wherever the money goes, that's where you're going to have success. And so if we are motivated to invest in public schools, to invest in clean energy, to invest in protecting our water, to invest in corporations that believe in diversity, pay equity, eliminating the radically high executive pay, and paying their workers living wages, all of those things, we can move our money in that direction, and we can support those industries that are doing good for our planet and doing good for our community. So, chief banker, chief investment officer. The third thing is you're the chief financial officer. The treasurer should be the voice, the public voice for this whole state of Arizona on anything that has to do with finances, anything that has a dollars and cents impact to it. The treasurer should be the one speaking out about it. That's everything from the budgets that our legislature proposes to the ARPA funds that our governor receives and is supposed to be distributing, is not doing a very good job of, or even the land that we just sold to Saudi Arabia to grow alfalfa, and while at the same time they're draining all of our water to feed their cows in Saudi Arabia. Those are all issues that have a dollars and cents impact on our personal finances, and they have a dollars and cents impact on our state's finances. The treasurer should be speaking out about all of those things, including the voucher system, including medical debt, including all of these issues that have an impact on the way we live our lives and if we can survive economically. And so I believe the treasurer can do that, and that's all part of financial literacy. That's what financial literacy is going to look like in my office. It's not just going to be a link on a website. It's going to be a robust program where we are educating people about all aspects of finance and helping them be successful individual owners of their personal financial situations, being able to be successful at it, and helping small business owners be successful with their finances, and helping people understand what's on the ballot in terms of their bonds or overrides or the propositions that are on their ballot, or how to even register and exercise their right to vote, because nothing impacts your finances more than your vote. So I believe that's a part of financial literacy as well. These are all things that I believe a good treasurer, a motivated treasurer, an energetic treasurer would be doing for the people of Arizona. Because to me, each one of those dollars is more than just a number on a spreadsheet to advance a political agenda. To me, those dollars represent your values. They represent our children. They represent our future. I'm going to treat them as such. And so I hope that I can earn your vote to be Arizona's next state treasurer.
Martina, I have a question, and it's obvious, I think, to everybody that you are energetic and committed to what you're telling us. So my question is, can you explain, because it seems to be a little confusing about this cap on public education spending, where the money is already allocated, but they can't use it right now.
Yes, no, absolutely. That's another prime. I should have mentioned that. That's a prime example of something the state treasurer should be talking about, because what the legislature did, the legislature appropriated a lot of money in this last budget cycle to our public schools, but there is a cap on how much the schools can actually spend. And that's in our Constitution. In order to spend that money, the legislature has to pass a bill that basically overrides that cap and allows us to spend that money. So essentially what we did this year is we wrote our schools a check, but we didn't sign it. So they've got this money and they can't spend it until and unless the legislature comes back into session and adopts an override of what's called the aggregate expenditure limit. All of our schools right now are kind of freaking out about it, because they know that their budget's going to be devastated if this doesn't happen before March of next year. And there's no sign that it's coming. There's no sign that Republicans are willing to do this in the next legislative session or in a special session right now. But it must get done. So you need to hold your legislators accountable, hold the candidates accountable, ask them if they support overriding or even eliminating entirely the aggregate expenditure limit, because without it, we basically written our schools a check but not signed it. So now they have this check in their hands, but they can't cash it.
So should we be contacting our legislators that are still from the old district alignments? Because, for example, I contacted our trusted LD11 representatives, Vince Leach, Mark Fincham, and Teresa Martinez. Yeah, and actually, Teresa Martinez committed to voting to raise the limit. She emailed me a response. It took a little to get her actually to address the question, but she did. But that's who we should be still contacting right now. Is that right?
Well, we are in a unique time in terms of politics in Arizona, because we are in between the old legislative district lines and the new legislative district lines. The old ones are still in effect. All of your elected officials from earlier this year are still, so Vince Leach is still your senator until the end of the calendar year. But at the same time, you've got that other lady, I can't remember her name, that's running for his seat to be your legislator next year. So you really need to be asking both sets of legislators. The old legislators, including myself and Ms. Martinez and Mr. Fincham and Mr. Leach, they could come into special session right now if they wanted to, and we could override the aggregate expenditure limit right now. The new legislators, they'd have to do that in the next legislative session starting in January, but we may need to ask them to do that as well.
So if you were in LD11, you're still with Leach, Fincham, and Martinez. But if you were in LD8, because we were split in the old drawing, legislative district drawing. If you're in LD8, it's Shope, Cook, and Neil Carter. So if you need that contact information for them, contact me and I'll get you that. I'll give you the basic number that you can contact the legislature, and they'll get the message to the right person. I'll put that in the chat. Anyone else have any questions for our next state treasurer? All right. Martine, thanks for being with us. I know we're going to be celebrating in November. There's a lot of work to do between now and then. You are on our sample ballot. We've included all of the statewide candidates. I know you've seen it because I sent you a copy. And we're bringing that to every door in the Casa Grande area and sending it out to voters and making sure they know who we support.
Awesome. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, all of you that are doing that, because it's those votes in your LD that are going to help me win. It really is. So thank you so much for that. If you don't mind, I'm going to put my links in the chat. Please contribute. Please follow me on social media. Please support me. Please check out the news article I put in there as well. It talks about the weaponization of state treasurers' offices that's happening all across the nation right now. Thanks, guys. And I got to go because I have another event, but thank you all for having me. Have fun. Tell Katie Hobbs I said hi.
Well, thank you. All right. So, Katie Hobbs will be on shortly. I see that Whitney just put in the chat that Katie will be on shortly. So as soon as we see Katie come on, we will bring her on to speak. In the meantime, Debbie Burdette, did you want to at least start telling us about
Sure, and I'll stop as soon as you need me to.
Yep.
I attended a CEBV Civic Engagement Beyond Voting meeting yesterday, and they had a couple of links that I think would be really valuable for us to share. I'm not a person who does any.
I know where I am.
There she is.
It says Will Cars.
All right. We knew it was we were going to be interrupting someone, but Katie, you need to unmute yourself. Your microphone's muted.
I'm sorry, I did not have any sound, so I don't know if you were talking to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, everybody, here's our next governor of the state of Arizona, Katie Hobbs. Take it away, Katie. I know your time is limited.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And it's such a pleasure to be here. The Casa Grande Democrats have always been so good to me, and I'm really glad I got to spend a little bit of time. And I know that you are busting your butts to help us win this race and help the other statewide candidates. So thank you for everything you're doing between now and we have 47 days to win this thing. And I'm feeling great about it. Really grateful to spend some time with you. So a lot of you know me. I'm Katie Hobbs. I'm the Democratic nominee for governor, obviously, and the Secretary of State. And I always love being with people who are more focused on this upcoming election than the last one. So thank you for that. But to be clear, the 2020 election was very important. This one is even bigger. In 2020, the foundation of our democracy faced the most serious challenge of our lifetime with false accusations of fraud, questions about the systems we had in place and the leaders in charge of them. There were threats against me, against my life, threats against my children, even armed protesters outside of my door. But we had a job to do. And as Secretary of State, we conducted the safest and most secure election in our state's history with record-breaking turnout. I stood for democracy when I refused to give in to the insurrectionists who surrounded my home. And I'm still doing that today in this campaign for governor. Not just because I'm running against Carrie Lake, the Trump-endorsed, election-denying, media-hating, conspiracy-loving GOP nominee, but also because I truly believe that even in this moment of cynicism and anger, that when we prove government can help solve problems, we prove that democracy works. And I can't believe that we're still litigating the 2020 election when we have so many pressing issues to focus on, like skyrocketing housing prices, inflation, Arizona's water crisis, and fixing our state's neglected public education system. We need leaders who are going to focus on the future, not dwelling on the past. Leaders who will get the job done, because our problems are urgent and many of them are decades in the making. I haven't shied away from the toughest challenges our state faces because I've lived some of those same challenges. I'm a born and raised Arizonan, and I come from a hardworking middle-class family that knows the value of a dollar and the dignity of hard work. My parents made huge sacrifices for me and my siblings, but we didn't always have enough to make ends meet and sometimes had to rely on support from our church community and government programs like food stamps. I learned the value of service from my parents and from my faith. Starting as a kid, volunteering at my church, I've spent my entire life serving, and I've never stopped. I put myself through college with a combination of work study and scholarships, and immediately started as a social worker helping everyday Arizonans. My first job out of college was working with homeless youth in Phoenix, and then I helped run one of the largest domestic abuse shelters in the country. We provided critical resources to thousands of women and their children fleeing domestic violence. The women at this shelter were some of the strongest people I've ever met. And I loved making a difference in the lives of people that I was working with, but I wanted to fix the problems that were causing them to end up in these situations in the first place. And I didn't see our elected officials doing anything about it. And so I ran for office myself and I won. And then I got to work. In the legislature, I worked with both parties to expand healthcare to over 500,000 Arizonans. I worked across the aisle to find new ways to tackle the growing opioid epidemic here in Arizona. And I worked with a Republican governor to end the state's rape kit backlog and put sexual assault offenders in jail. And when I became Secretary of State, we had more tough challenges to tackle. I promised I would bring trust and accountability to the office, and we did. We modernized the office, fixed broken systems, battled misinformation, and navigated the pandemic for Arizona voters. And these changes led to the historically secure administration of the 2020 elections. And this is the kind of leadership that I'll bring to the governor's office. Real solutions, not finger pointing or conspiracy theories, but bringing people together to solve our most urgent problems. I know that we have what it takes to turn our challenges into opportunities to make Arizona the best place in the country to live, work, and raise a family. To start, my campaigns released a plan to lower costs and make Arizona more affordable. We're going to make government more accountable. We're going to stop kicking the can down the road and finally deal with our water crisis. We're going to make sure that every child in Arizona, no matter where they live, gets a world-class public education. We're going to ensure that women and families have access to reproductive health care, including safe and legal abortion. And we're going to continue to stand up to the incessant attacks on our freedom to vote. That's getting the job done. This race for governor isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's a choice between sanity and chaos. It is not just the off-the-wall stuff that Kari Lake says. It's not just that she proudly accepts the support of Nazis and spews dangerous conspiracy theories, but it's what she would actually do as governor. She is 100% against women's reproductive rights without any exceptions for rape, incest, or even the life of the woman. She supports an abortion ban that was passed before Arizona was even a state, before women even had the right to vote. I was 3 years old when Roe v. Wade was decided, and my daughter's 20 now, and I can't believe that she'll have fewer rights in 2022 than I did 50 years ago. Government mandated forced births that would risk the lives of women. That's the reality if Kari Lake were to win this election. And speaking of elections, she's still calling to decertify the 2020 election, which is a concept she seems to have invented. She continues to spread conspiracy theories about the last election while refusing to say if she'll accept the results of this one, and also refused to say if she'll certify the 2024 election, presidential election, as governor. As if that weren't alarming enough, Kari Lake wants to put government cameras in our children's classrooms, leading to stalkers, Big Brother, and big tech potentially spying on our kids. She's said she would allow regular people to own rocket launchers. Rocket launchers. Think about that for a minute. These are weapons of war used to fight tanks and heavy artillery. Imagine such a weapon in the hands of dangerous criminals. Imagine the next mass shooting conducted with a rocket launcher instead of an assault rifle. Kari Lake has called to dismantle the nation's top law enforcement agency. She's called for Arizona to secede from the Union and usher in another civil war. And she has promised to declare an invasion at the southern border on day 1 of her administration, which would do nothing to secure our border, but would lead to untold levels of chaos for our state. Kari Lake is dangerous, too extreme, and out of touch with everyday Arizonans. So the question now is, do we want a governor whose entire platform boils down to being a sore loser, or a governor who will get the job done for Arizona? So yeah, the last election was pretty big, but it is nothing compared to what's Arizona's doorstep today. This election for governor truly might be the most important election in our state's history. The good news is that we can win this race. The most recent independent polling has me beating Kari Lake by 3 points. I know that's a small margin. We're going to win this in the margin. It shows you how hard we have to fight for every single vote and that we can't take any vote for granted. The Republican Governors Association has already committed $12 million because they know that this is going to be a tough fight. But I'm not afraid of a tough fight. I'm battle tested. I'm the candidate who has won statewide. In fact, I've never lost an election, and I certainly don't intend to start now, especially with so much on the line. So again, thank you all for everything that you're doing. If you want to get more involved in our campaign, you can go to katiehobbs.org, sign up to volunteer, donate, even just talking to your friends and neighbors, which I know that you're all doing. But everything you can do is going to help us with this fight. And I look forward to winning alongside all of you this November. Thank you so much.
Katie, and every door we go to, regardless of district, LD or CD, we're bringing the slate card that has you at the top. So we're doing all we can to help get votes in Pinal County. Are you
Thank
able
you
to
so much.
take
Huh?
any questions, or do you need to go?
I could take a couple.
All right, Larry had his hand up.
Katie, with this, with the nut job you're going against, you told us about the status. What's your plan for the final days?
So we are, my schedule, as you can imagine, is much busier now than it was before the primary. And we are getting out to as many parts of the state as we can. We're also meeting with a lot of sane Republicans and independents who tend to lean Republican, but want to see that there's a choice for sanity in this race. And so we're winning those folks over. And we're continuing to raise enough money to keep our message on the air so that we can win this race. Right now, we are out communicating the Republicans. We have more points on the air than they do. They're not even running ads outside of the Phoenix market. They're only up in Phoenix. We're in Phoenix, Yuma, Tucson, which are the 3 media markets in Arizona. We're on Spanish television and Spanish radio. And so far, Kari Lake hasn't gone on the air herself, but it takes a lot of money to keep that up. And raising money takes a lot of time and effort. Sitting in a call time room, just calling and calling and calling, it pays off, but I don't think people realize how much effort that takes. And so because of all the meetings we're having, we have less time for call time. So every spare second, I'm on the phones doing that work to raise those dollars to keep us on the air so folks can see our message. And
How is the money situation?
So our budget is $28 million, and that's between my campaign and then what we're raising into our coordinated fund at the state party. And it's going well. We're on track to be where we need to be. We've narrowed what was a $2.5 million gap in terms of what we were projecting, and to less than $500,000. So feeling good about that. And that's important to know what we can project, so we know if we have to make decisions about cutting parts of our program. And that means communicating with less voters, whether it's mail or television. So we want to try to not have to do that. So we've been doing really well, and this race has national importance. The silver lining, I guess, of the 2020 election is that it gave me a national spotlight and a platform that I wouldn't have otherwise. And that's been really helpful to bring resources and support in for this race nationally, which we wouldn't be able to raise that $28 million just in Arizona. So that's been really critical.
Good. Just for
We
your
said in
information,
October-
I had an issue, letter to the editor, all written already against the Republicans going against the border until you brought it up that you had a plan.
Oh, well, and that ad has been working. We're doing tracking polling and it's working to hit back against the negative ads the Republicans have run on me about that. So, and Nanos and Hathaway have both endorsed the campaign and yeah, that was a great ad. So, and the reality is that we all know the border is a federal situation. We need to work with the federal government to bring the solutions that are right for Arizona. You know, constantly pulling these political stunts isn't going to do anything to help the situation at all.
Yep, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Katie, we've got an October 7th, it's a Friday event in Pinell County. And I know Nicole said you're booked and unable to attend. If you could, if I'll be in touch with her, if you could send someone else down to it to talk to voters in Pinell County, we're going to be inviting some independents and some persuadable voters. So I think it'd be a great opportunity to connect with some voters here in Pinell County.
Okay,
Well-
great. And does Whitney have the information for that?
We have Whitney's contact information, but
I know you know
Whitney-
how to find us, so.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll send that information
Thank you.
out again.
Okay, thank you.
Katie? I don't see
Yeah.
your name on display very much down here in Casa Grande, in Eloy, in the Pinell County area. How do we get a hold of some of your campaign lawn signs?
So we have yard signs in our store. It's store.katiehobbs.org. I ordered one yesterday and it's already shipped, so they'll get to you really quickly. And I know this is a controversial issue, but we don't have road signs and we're not going to. And I won in 2018 with no signs. They don't make a difference except for people who get paranoid and think you're going to lose because you don't have signs. So they're just a nuisance and a headache and something that we don't need to spend money on or deal with. But yeah, the yard signs are in the store. They're shipping out really quickly.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
having
you,
me. I
Katie.
really appreciate it. And it's always good to see you. I can't wait to celebrate with you after November. So thanks.
For sure.
To be a donator.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll tell you something, Deborah Dorman can verify. It's work to get Katie to do an event. So you know, I'm glad she was able to join us for the short time. And originally they said she would not be taking any questions. So she did take a couple of questions. So that's even better. So I'm not sure if Kirsten Engel is going to be able to join us tonight, but we've got time. So I'm going to turn it back over to Debbie Burdett, who was talking to us about
This, there are a couple of sites that I'll share with you, but one thing I found really interesting, Trisha from Indivisible handled this part of the CEBV meeting, and she said that their surveys or research has shown that rural Arizonans do not get their news from MSNBC or CBS or anyplace else. They get it from Facebook. So they've decided to use social media to be able to share with prospective voters. And they're asking anyone who has any social media account to use these two websites. So I hope I can share screen. I have to be enabled to share screen, please. Because it was, I don't do social media, but I thought, wow, that would be really cool to be able to do this, because they have graphics, they have videos, and they have script, and you can change, edit, or personalize the script for your message. Oh, great. Okay. Sorry, I haven't shared for a while. Okay, if you go to the two sites, this one is for candidates. And so you can see you can use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or WhatsApp. I'll just go to the Facebook one because I think a lot of people use that. And you can choose all posts, Blake Masters, Carrie Lake, Mark Fincham, Nancy Bartow, or a Spanish message. And since Blake Masters is so Blake Masters, I thought we would just go to his site. Now, some of them are movies and some of them are not. Here's one that's a video. But you can see that it says Arizona's been through a lot: voting system attacks, a war on reproductive rights, and soaring costs, to name a few. But freedom is worth fighting for, and we will not be silent in the face of MAGA extremism. And that's Masters. And then you get this little video clip that you can put onto your Facebook.
Help me sing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, help me sing hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That's just an example. But if you go through the page, you can see there's Carrie Lake stuff. And what they did bring up, and there's Fincham, what they did bring up is that Blake Masters is pretty low right now. Who they thought needed some of the most help was Katie Hobbs, is who they thought. So hitting people up with Carrie Lake bad messages would be a good thing. Now this is the other one, and this one is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and WhatsApp. And I just, again, put the Facebook one. And this is Issues More, abortion. Contrast, I barely looked at these because I just got them this afternoon: empowerment, achievement, and Spanish. But this one is a video. And again, you can change the script to be relevant for you. But I thought this was a good one for reproductive rights.
Dear
What are
Layla,
these?
you're only 2 now,
What are the
but I'm
websites?
writing this letter to the future you who's all grown up. I want you to live in a country where you have the freedom to make decisions about your body. Things feel so uncertain these days. I don't know how to solve everything, but there's one thing I can do. I can vote and get others to vote too, for real leaders who care about our freedoms. And that makes me feel like I can protect you and the family you might decide to have one day. Love, Mom.
I'm sorry, I played this and I think someone was asking a question.
I apologize. I was trying to, I'm not seeing what these websites are.
I just reposted in the chat what Debbie had posted earlier, so it's fresh on your chat screen.
If I could find my chat screen, that'd be great. Right.
I'm gonna I'll send that out to you. I've got those websites. I'll just text that to you.
Great, thanks.
And the other I thought I would share with everyone, since we have a little time, is Arizona.vote. I don't know if you all are aware of that. That's something that I did include with my with the candidate card that we dropped off, was for people to go there. People can check their voter information. They can volunteer to become a poll worker, find out about candidates. And what I found regrettable is lots of our candidates don't have a website connected. This guy's got his website connected. But the Democratic candidates, a lot of them don't seem to. But you go federal, state, legislative, judicial, and they even have the ballot measures on there. So people can find out if they're registered to vote. They can ask for early ballots. They can volunteer to be a poll worker. I think that's something really good for us to share with our friends and neighbors too, and anyone we want to influence to vote. So thanks for your time. Thanks for letting me share that.
It's great information, and we'll get those websites posted either on the website. Stephanie or Debbie Broom can get some more information out about that, so that we get it sent to everybody. So thank you, Debbie Burdett. That was very informative. Anybody have any questions? So we've got work to do as far as contacting voters. Whether you can or want to or are able to knock on doors or drop lit, meet voters face to face, or do phone calls or help with postcards, please do join us and get involved and do something. Every little bit helps. Every little bit is going to go toward helping our candidates get elected. We're printing up more of those sample ballots. We're going to be getting those out to more people. As I said, there's going to be a canvass every Saturday morning in Casa Grande, and they're going to be splitting those between CD2 and CD6. Get involved. Mission for Arizona is one way. Just contact me or contact our website. We'll help you get connected with whatever you want to do. If you want to get just with a particular candidate or our Democratic candidates in general. Our LD16 candidates, Taylor Kirby for State Senate and Keith Seaman for State House, both need help, not only with canvassing, but they could use a few bucks too. If you got some money that you could throw their way, they would greatly appreciate it. So anything and everything helps. October 7th at Robeson, we're going to have candidates. We're going to have some camaraderie. We'll be able to meet face to face and have an opportunity to talk to our candidates and reconnect. Many of us haven't seen each other face to face in a long time, so that will be something to look forward to. And October 1st, the cornhole. Come on out to Eva's and have some fun. Pat and I are going to be a team, and if you think you can beat us, show up, because while we haven't played it much, we've seen it played, so we know what it looks like. So come on out and beat us at the cornhole tournament. Anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about or ask about?
Ralph,
Yeah, Debbie.
I've been phone banking and text banking for LD16. The phone banking has been with Mission for Arizona, but the text banking, which I think I reach a lot more people, because in 2 hours I can hit 10,000 text banking, and I get 50 people maybe calling and actually talk to 3. But Mobilize does that on Wednesdays and it's specifically Keith and Taylor. This week I went and they didn't have it set up. Last week I just invited people to go to a meet and greet and one other thing for them. The week before they ran out of text. So you have to be willing to be flexible with them, but it is specifically Keith for Keith and Taylor on Wednesdays with Mobilize is putting it on, and it's through Google Meet. And so if anybody wants that information, you could email me, and I'll put my email in the chat, and you can email me and I can send it directly to you. Okay.
Is that you're getting that from Mission for Arizona? Is that who's connecting you with that?
I get that from Mobilize.
Okay, so Debbie Broom, is there a way you can get that information also out so that at least people have an option that want to do some phone banking or texting?
Actually, usually if you sign on to Mobilize, it'll just give you events that are near where you are, and it should pop up that way.
That's a good idea.
So how do you do that? Is that just
Mobilize.com, I think.
Mobilize.com?
I think it's been a while. I'll find out and get it to Debbie. She can get it out, or she might have it.
Yeah, I'll send that out in the next bulletin board.
Okay, great.
She'll send that out in the next bulletin board. Murdoch, is LD16 coordinating any of that kind of activity?
Yes, Ralph, and thanks a lot, and hello everyone. On Saturdays, Mission for Arizona will be, launching some canvases here in the city of Maricopa, okay? They're gonna start at about 9 a.m., starting on the 24th, okay? And running through, I guess, until, the final days of the election cycle. That's one thing. Secondly, in conjunction with ADLCC, ADLCC is going to be concentrating on the phone banking aspect you know, informing voters and trying to get out the vote. Okay, so we'll have those every Saturday morning from now until election day. They're going to have some canvases being launched here in the city of Maricopa. Okay. Okay. Secondly, let's see. The street signs are now available for Taylor Kirby. I know some folks aren't that, not street signs, but yard signs are available for Taylor Kirby's campaign. So if you'd like to get some of those, you can contract his campaign or district manager, Kendra Lee, and she can supply you with those or tell you where you can pick those up. Okay.
Put Kendra Lee's email address in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Will do. Okay. Next, let's see. The city of Maricopa is having its annual Salsa Festival this coming weekend, September 24th. And that's going to take place at Copper Sky, and it's going to take place from 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. It's very well attended, and I would hope that we'll have a couple, well, I'm sorry, Keith and Taylor there in attendance.
And that is a very well attended event.
It is.
I mean, there are thousands of people there.
Yeah, right. The folks here in the city of Maricopa, well, the folks here who are working with the Copa City Dems, they will be in attendance, as well as the Pinal County folks.
They have tables?
Yeah, we'll have a table set up, and canopy, all of that good stuff, some drinks and some lit and stuff to hand out, and we'll be prepared to talk to voters and try to find some volunteers to assist us in going forward, especially as it relates to door knockers, which is always a challenge, which seems to be a challenge right now in terms of recruiting people to do that. Okay. And lastly, Ralph, with respect to the cornhole tournament, be prepared to lose to a superior team here in Maricopa. Okay, buddy.
Listen, I'm icing my shoulder every night.
Well, you're going to need to ice your ego when we're done, okay?
All right, yeah. Good.
Okay, guys. Hey.
Thank you, Murdoch. Right. And so everybody, if you don't know, I should have introduced him. Murdoch Holloway is our LD16 chair and doing a great job under some tough election cycle circumstances. And Murdoch, we appreciate all you're doing.
Well, thanks, Ralph. It's a labor of love.
Yeah. But a labor.
I've been head over heels, let me tell you.
Thank you. Yes, she is one of the candidates that has confirmed. So we're still trying to get some more candidates. I don't want to give away who we have and who we haven't heard from yet, but we're working hard to get as many of the statewide candidates as we can, and federal candidates. Someone from Mark Kelly's campaign, if Mark can't make it. So, all right, with that, thanks everybody for being here. I look forward to hearing from you. Give me your comments and suggestions for October, and get busy. Write checks, not make phone calls. Take care.
Right,
thanks for the meeting, Ralph.
Ralph, can you stay on, talk to me for a minute?
Sure.